Hello and welcome into the Jefferson Drinks Fantasy Podcast, the pod on a mission to normalise 8-team leagues. This is the Week 11 preview. We are back after a week off. I'm Pete McManus and I'm joined by Hallam Monk and just Hallam Monk. It's a two-man show.
Hello. So, first of all, I've named this one Week 9 review, so I'm way behind on that. And secondly, that's the only button that I know. So the answer to your question before we went on, yes, please, could you do the graphics? Because I have no idea what I'm doing.
I'll do the buttons. It'll be fine.
Good to see you.
Well, it could all go wrong. For those of you who've already know or haven't noticed and will have worked it out, Ian's not here. Ian's working hard up a tree trying to get a cat down somewhere, which is we just assume he is all the time.
I think he's at a bonfire tonight, isn't he?
No, that was last week.
Oh yeah, it was. That's why we could do it last week.
So we had last week off. So we've got a lot to go over.
Yeah.
And there's no Ian. So it's just us two. It's going to go off the rails in all sorts of directions because Ian's usually the one that's like, we have to talk about this and we have to talk about that. So you've just got me and H whittering on for an hour. So lucky you. Apologies we missed last week. Before what we thought we'd do this week, we're going to do things slightly different. We're going to very quickly go through the 8 divisions and give our sort of reviewed division winners or as sort of mid-season predictions. But before we do that, we need to quickly talk about the trade deadline, I think. The Jets have decided, funnily enough, decided to sell and then went and won a game. So maybe they should have sold earlier.
Bizarre, wasn't it? No, to be fair to the Jets, they have now got themselves into a position where in a few years' time they could be quite good. However, it's still the Jets and it's probably not likely to happen. Sorry to Matt, but the truth is the truth. Like, they will somehow manage to mess this up. What have they got now? Is it 5 first-round picks in the next 2 years? And an extra second, maybe, if I'm right?
Yeah.
What's quite funny, though, is that the receiver that they got back from your trade with them is the receiver that they were buzzing that you took over Corley so that they could trade up to get Corley, who's subsequently been cut from their roster. So I actually think that's quite a good trade for AD Mitchell because he's got a chance.
I mean, he's not. I mean, Alex Pierce has looked really good for us recently. Yeah. So AD Mitchell burnt his potential opportunities against the Rams earlier in the year, and we talked about that. So yeah, it's like he's 4th or 5th on the depth chart. He's not coming back in.
But just on that trade though, so with the Colts trading away the first 2 picks, or first round 2 first-round picks for Sauce, that says to me that they are ready to offer Daniel Jones a contract at the end of this year, which is potentially but not one of the highest paid quarterbacks, but they believe they've got a quarterback that is operational enough to go and potentially win, which they're clearly doing now.
Yeah, and I mean, it could come back and bite us. I think I liked how aggressive we were with that trade because I think we need something. I think we've been quietly giving up a lot more points than anybody kind of realizes because we're scoring so many points. And it's easy to kind of go, well, we're scoring points, so teams are going to have to be a little bit more aggressive against you. But we saw it at the weekend against the Falcons. We seem to play quite well and make some good plays on defense, and then at the end of the game, we've still given up 25 points. And you're like, that's not great. So I like the fact that they tried to do something about that. I think we gave the Jets really good value for him. We'll see if he makes a difference.
I'll be honest, if someone offered me two firsts for Derek Stingley, I wouldn't say no. And for anyone who has ever known me, Derek Stingley is probably, other than Will Anderson Jr., is my favourite player on the Texans. I just think he's phenomenal. And I would say that he is closer to Pat Surtain as the top corner than Sauce Gardner. And if I got offered two firsts for Stingley, I would take it.
I think
but when you're in the position that you're in, when you are let's face it, you're in the conversation to be AFC champions, potential bye week, home home playoff games. Like you're going to take that chance. You're going to do that.
Yeah, and I think they can't get this far unless Daniel Jones, going back to your point, unless Daniel Jones has an absolute collapse in the next 6 or 7 weeks, which even he's getting put under pressure the last couple of weeks, and he's looked scared, and he's looked a little bit like the Daniel Jones from old, but he's still coming back and making plays. And I think the bye weeks come at a good time for us just to settle him back down again and go again, because I think we've got the Chiefs coming out of the bye, so that'll be interesting.
The other thing is as well, and this is a point that I made 2 weeks ago. If you've got a running back that is your offense, pay him. Yeah. Like they should be negotiating a contract with Jonathan Taylor already for an extension when he's got 2 years left on his current one. They should be doing that now, because you want to tie him down. He is your offense. Yes, MVP. Daniel Jones. Yeah, I don't want to. Do you know what? I will do it because he's in my division. Yeah, give Jonathan Taylor the MVP, because after what happened when I said that about Baker, he's fallen off a cliff. So give it Jonathan Taylor. He's the best player in the world. Best player I've ever seen in my life. Just give him the MVP now.
The only other thing I'll say about the Jets is, yes, they are stacked with draft picks, and you touched on it, the Jets are the Jets. Where I would use the comparison is that they did this a few years ago and set themselves up with, did they have like 3 first-round picks or 2 in the top 5 or something?
Yeah, and they picked up Sauce, and they picked up, was it Will McDonald or was it the other one? It might be the other one. Jermaine Johnson.
But they came out of back-to-back drafts with Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Will McDonald. Like they came out with a few stars to build around, and 3 years later, we're looking at it going, well, they've sold one of them on. They're about to lose Breece Hall in free agency. It's just like they have the talent, they just haven't built around it and done it properly. So they're going again.
The big thing is that they didn't really get a quarterback to bring those pieces together. We thought Justin Fields might be a good player for them. I thought Fields would be brilliant because of his relationship that he had at Ohio with Garrett Wilson. It's just not worked out, and it does make you think, because last year we all sat here and went, Justin Fields should be starting for the Steelers. He will make the Steelers a better team than what Russ Wilson was doing, and now we're looking at it going, that is rubbish. It's bizarre. It's a situation thing, and the other brief trade that I just want to touch on is I really like the Jags move for Jakobi Meyers. I think it's a really, really good trade, especially as they are in the hunt for the playoffs. It's been announced today that Travis Hunter's out for the rest of the season. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah, he's had season-ending surgery, and there's obviously the Brian Thomas injury as well. So I think that's a great trade for the Jags.
I would say they're not really in the playoff run after you destroyed them in the fourth quarter.
But still ahead of us, and we're in the playoffs. So.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're 5-4, we're 4 and 5.
Before we move on to quickly going through our 8 division winners, our mid-season predictions, I just want to, and I wouldn't do this often, and if Ian was here, I wouldn't get away with it, but I'm going to give you your dues, mate, because every so often you get something bang on, and usually it's college related. You were first on Drake May, as far as I'm concerned. You mentioned Ibuka, you got both of them right, but the one that you got right earlier this year, when everyone else was jumping on the, oh, he's great, he's worth it, what a trade, DK Metcalf to the Steelers has not worked at all. So they paid him 30-odd million, and you said that was a waste of money. And I still stand by the fact that he's a good player, but don't pay someone 30-odd million a year and then not give him 10 targets a game. That's absolutely ridiculous. So well done with that.
Yeah, the quick caveat to that is I look at what the Texans did with Nico Collins, who had 2 1,500 yard seasons. Then we paid him. he is paid less money than DK Metcalf, and I would take Nico Collins over DK Metcalf every single day. It's just, but the Steelers had the money there. They needed to, they wanted to give Aaron Rodgers a target, so they might as well have just traded it for Jonnu Smith and just.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't use him as a target. That's my point. Like, throw the ball to Metcalf.
It's just bizarre, isn't it? Well, the thing is,
he's killing a couple of my fantasy teams. If you want to know where this is coming from, so.
Well, the Caleb Johnson, I picked up Caleb Johnson in so many leagues, and he's the running back at the start where I went, I'm not taxiing him. He's going to start, and he had 10 snaps the whole season.
Yeah,
like
he's
just
done.
Yeah,
he's done already. Right, very quickly. Right. Do you want to start NFC or AFC?
Let's do the NFC. I think that one will probably get the most conversation to start with.
Do you know in the NFC? I don't know how much you look at this at this point, but there are, I think it's 6. There are 7 teams now, because people don't really look at the playoff race after 10 weeks, but they should. The top 7 teams in the NFC are split by 1 win.
Yeah,
the top 7 have got 7 wins or 6 wins. Is absolutely nuts.
But I think it's the is it the North and the West have 5 of those teams.
Yeah, it's
madness, isn't it?
It's crazy. Right, let's do what we're doing first then. So we do
Never
the NFC. We'll do. I tell you what, we'll do it in order of what it's on the NFL website. So we'll do the East. We all went pre-season. Me and you both went Eagles. I assume we're all on the Eagles now because there's no competition there. Ian, for what it's worth, Ian did say the Commanders would win that division. So
Commanders are struggling.
I think the Eagles aren't going to have to do much to win that division.
No.
In the North, it's Lions 6-3, Bears 6-3, Packers 5-3-1, Vikings hanging around at 4-5 despite the defeat weekend. What are you thinking?
So I've gone Lions purely because I only think they could, at worst, potentially lose 2 of their remaining fixtures. So I've gone Lions purely on schedule alone because I think the Packers' schedule is slightly tougher and the Bears' schedule is even tougher than that.
I completely agree with you. This was one of those pre-season where I went with the Packers, and early on I was feeling pretty good about that. And now I can't work out who the Packers are. Like, they just defensively, they're not quite as good as I think everybody thinks they are. Offensively, I think they're slightly better than everybody thinks they are, but they don't seem to be able to put it all together into one game. You could argue that, the best teams get better as the season goes on, but I don't know about that. I don't know about the Packers. I think the Lions, when the Lions want to turn it on, they are the best team in football. So I'm all for the Lions winning that. In the South, the Bucs are 6-3. The Panthers are hanging around at 5-5. Pre-season, me and Ian went Bucs. You went Falcons.
Yeah, I regret that.
That's not working out.
Yeah, no, that's not worked out at all. I am going Bucs though. I think the Bucs look strong, even without Godwin, without Mike Evans. They're still finding a way, and Baker's still finding a way. And Bucky Irvin's been out for a long time. I know he's due back, but they're still picking up wins. They're still picking up results. So I've gone the Bucs. I think as well the Bucs' schedule may be a little bit tougher than the Panthers, but I still see them. I can't trust the Panthers.
I think it gets pretty soft. The Panthers, the last 2 weeks sums up the Panthers. Go into Lambeau, beat the Packers, come back home, get beat by the Saints. I'm like, that's right. You're at 500, and they've got 9, and they're basically fighting for a 9-8 rather than an 8-9. And maybe the Panthers, if you offered the Panthers 9-8 at the beginning of the year, maybe they'd be happy with it, but it's not going to be enough to beat the Bucs. So I think they're pretty nailed on. Then the really exciting one, the NFC West. Currently, the Seahawks lead the way at 7-2, ahead of the Rams at 7-2, and the 49ers at 6-4. Cardinals just continue to be the Cardinals, 3-6. But Trey McBride is the best tight end in football, so it's okay. I'm struggling with this one because the Rams have been really, really good, but the Seahawks are just getting it done.
Do you know what? I didn't think this. I thought the Seahawks would be better this year. I didn't think they'd be this good.
Well,
If that makes sense. Like, I thought they'd be better. I thought they'd make the playoffs fairly comfortably, but I didn't think they'd be quite as good as they are. Their investment of moving on from Geno Smith and Cooper Kupp, bringing in. They brought in Cooper Kupp. They got rid of DK to make Jackson Smith and Jigba that player. They knew they had the talent with him. But they just like Sam Darnold's playing some great football as well.
really well.
He's fantastic, but I just can't get past the Rams. I think the Rams all over the field are just that little bit superior. But the one good thing about this division is they pretty much. So the Rams play the Seahawks twice now, and the Seahawks play the 49ers as well. So,
it's this weekend, I think, Rams Seahawks, isn't it?
Yeah, Rams Seahawks this weekend, and then it's week 16 as well. So, like, right at the end. But I can see the Rams at worst losing 2 games the rest of the way, and one of them's a 50-50. So I've gone the Rams by 1 game.
I agree with you. I think the Rams will do it. I think they've just got a little bit more, and this is hands up. And I will do this at the end of the year when we do a proper review with Ian. But hands up, this was the one I got massively wrong at the beginning of the season. I think I said the Rams had finished bottom of the division. But to be fair to me, that was based on Matt Stafford getting injured, not being healthy and playing like an MVP caliber quarterback. So
why did you say that? Why did you say that? We know what happens when we name an MVP.
Yeah. Not when I name an MVP. I named Jonathan Taylor as my MVP, and he continues to cook the entire league. Right. So that's the NFC. Let's move on to the AFC. So, God, the AFC is mad. So there's 3 teams at the top of the AFC on 8-2, and not one of them I think you would have called at the beginning of the year because it doesn't involve the Chiefs, Ravens, or Bills, who would have been 3 favourites going in. So in the East, the Patriots lead the way at 8-2, and I think they've won 7 straight now. The Bills lost to the Dolphins is looking really important, 6-3. So they're only just behind the Patriots, really. But yeah, how you think? What I don't know whether I feel like I should be taking the Patriots more seriously than I actually am.
Yeah, I think one of the things for the Patriots is one. Drake May's amazing. I've said it from day one. Drake May's phenomenal, but the schedule has helped them as well. So if you look at their schedule going forward, they've got the Jets, Bengals, Giants. They've got the bye week. The Bills, Ravens is going to be the biggest test for them. Then they've got the Jets, Dolphins. So realistically, I can see them only losing 2 more games this year. Tough. The 50-50 call is probably the Bengals. But they should beat the Jets. They should beat the Giants. They should beat the Jets again, and they should beat the Dolphins. Also, the defense is strong. Like Christian Gonzalez and the cornerback for them is just brilliant. I think there was a stat that he went up against Ibuka a few times, and it's I think it was the most yards he's given up was 30 yards in one-on-one coverage against someone for a season. That's just stupid. So both sides of the ball, they look good. So I think the Bucs schedule. The Bills schedule is also difficult. So that's why I've gone Pats by 1. 2. Sorry, 2.
I have gone Bills. I'm sticking with the Bills, but I don't really see how it happened. But the Bills are not necessarily. They don't have to win out. They're 6-3. They've only lost 3 games, and I think there is still a long way to go. The thing that makes me doubt whether the only thing that makes me doubt whether the Bills is the Patriots only have to put really 1 great game together. If they beat the Bills and then they've got the sweep on them, and I can't see how from that position the Bills get 1 win more than the Patriots do. They'd need to finish above them, but I am sticking with the Bills for now. In In the North is a mess. The Steelers are 5-4, the Ravens are 4-5, the Bengals are 3-6, and the Browns are 2-7. So I think we can say the Browns are out of it. The Bengals, if they don't beat the Steelers this weekend, are out of it because they're not coming back from 3-7. Not sure they can come back from 3-6. I think it's the Ravens division to. I mean, the Ravens should be further behind than they actually are, and now they're starting to get people back and healthy, and they've gone through their bye and all that sort of stuff. I can't see anything other than the Ravens winning it.
I'm exactly the same. The point I've got here is they were injured to start the season. They're now getting those star players back and healthy. That's a great team. They just need to click again. Lamar needs to get going. Derrick Henry needs to get going, but they will. They always do. So I've gone the Ravens to win that one.
And we're already massively running over, so we will. I'm assuming we can skip through the South. I don't need to sit here gloating too much, unless you see some massive Colts claps over the last pack.
No, I've got the Colts to win it. The only thing is they come to their hardest part of the schedule, whereas I know the Texans get to the easiest part of their schedule. But I think we're so far back that it's just not even. I don't think it's possible.
No, I mean we always struggle with the Jags, especially the Jags in Florida. So that worries me a little bit. But we should be sweeping the Jags, and then that gets you to 10 wins, and from there should be the playoffs. So
yeah,
we've got enough wins on. But we have got some tough games. We're at the Chiefs. We're at the Seahawks. It's not going to be easy down the stretch, but this will show up whether they're actually as good a team as people think they can be. And then the West, Broncos are 8-2, Chargers are 7-3, the Chiefs are 5-4. Before the season, we all went Chargers. I honestly can't call this at all because I don't think the Broncos are that great. Or at least they haven't been playing that great.
Yeah. So I watched the Broncos obviously against the Texans, and luckily that we didn't do the podcast last week because that would have been a rant for the ages. But the Broncos just aren't that good. I mean, yes, the Texans have played really well on defense this year, but Bo Nix went 2 quarters with 0 yards. Like, they're just not that good. He was outplayed by Davis Mills. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, and I'd hate to go. The Texans proved it this weekend that the defense is elite, but they're going up against the Chiefs twice, who've got a really good defense. They're going up against the Packers, who've got a really good defense. The Jags have got a very good front four, and then they've also played the Chargers for the last game of the season. I can see them losing all of those games, so I have them I have them missing out, and the Chargers win it because I think the Chargers potentially only lose to the Eagles and the Chiefs, and potentially the Texans if the Texans play and confuse Herbert like they did in the playoffs last year. But even then, they could still beat us. So I have the Chargers winning it still. But I still stand by this. The Chiefs are a team to watch. Nobody wants to play the Chiefs.
I am fully expecting all 3 of those teams to be in the playoffs.
I am. Yeah. Which leaves the one spot for the
Bills.
For the 7th place, which could be the Bills. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm expecting. Nothing ever goes the way you expect it to, but
No.
if we're kind of thinking Pats, Bills, Ravens, Colts, and then Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs. It'll be a pretty exciting lineup for the AFC. And we've gone over by
10 minutes.
Best part of 10 minutes. Ian's going to be like, Ian's twitching somewhere. He doesn't know why, but he's twitching.
It's just going, something's gone wrong here, lads. It's not the cat. We can get the cat down. It's just something else is wrong.
Right, we're going to have to make that 10 minutes up.
Yeah, easy.
We'll start here. Fantasy game day. We didn't, that was my fault. We didn't do a team last week. We didn't, so therefore I didn't pick a captain. So it's my turn to pick a captain this week. It's not out as of yet, but we'll put it on socials. I'm currently thinking either a Bijan bounce back game against the Panthers because he's been below par recently, or I quite fancy Jalen Warren against the Bengals as a cheap option. So they're the two in my mind, but I'll have a look at prices. As always, if you've not played Fantasy Game Day, download the app, use our code JMDFS to get a free week. On to Selection Nightmares. So, do you want to kick off, or should we go with mine?
Go yours. I think yours is a really good one to talk about, to be honest. Mine may be a little bit quicker than yours as well.
So I am back to 4-6 in a team because I've just won a game just in a 10 team. So I'm like on the verge of the playoffs and need to find a way to get another win. And I'm left with a choice of, I've got 2 flex spots effectively, and I've got 3 players. So the 3 players are Chase Brown, who plays at the Steelers, DK Metcalf, previously mentioned, killing this team, who's obviously at home to the Bengals, and Keenan Allen at the Jags, who was on fire at the beginning of the year and scored 28 points not that long ago, but in the last 3 weeks has scored 8, 6, and 4 in the format that I think is full PPR. So I suppose my big question is, can I trust DK Metcalf?
I'm going to say yeah. I'm actually going to go with the Steelers-Bengals combo. There is method to my madness here. So last year, this was one of, I think, was it not 39-42 this game last year?
Possibly.
In one of them.
Sounds about right.
The reason I'm leaning DK is he's going up against the Bengals defense, which a wet paper bag is stronger than. And I just think if he's going to have a big game, it's probably going to be this one. They're going to have to try and outscore the Bengals, who potentially have Joe Burrow back. Even if they don't have Joe Burrow back, they've still got Joe Flacco.
When's Joe Burrow? I've not heard this. Well, since when is Joe Burrow going to be back?
They've activated his 21-day return. Yeah. Yesterday they activated it. So I think the Steelers are going to know they're going to have to score points in order to do that.
He was supposed to, whoa. Sorry. He was supposed to be out till Christmas. How have they activated his 21-day window on the 11th of November?
I'm telling you, they've activated it because if you look in our main redraft league, I've put Dak Prescott on the trade block.
You should have took the offer I sent you for him last week.
What, and just get the player back that I had just traded away? But yeah, so the reason I'm ducking out on Keenan Allen a little bit, though, is the increase in targets. So since Gadsden's come into the team, his targets have gone down, or not come into the team, but started to really excel as a pass-catching threat. Not only that, at the start of the season, Lad McConkey didn't get going. For whatever reason, the connection wasn't there. That is now going as well. He is scoring heavy points. I think Keenan Allen is wide receiver 3 on that team now. Even with Quentin Johnson, he's still the guy that's going to get a bit of volume. But I think because of Gadsden being kind of the emerging talent that he is, I think it's just putting down a tiny bit. And I think purely because the Steelers versus the Bengals, it's the one game of the year where the Steelers decide to play some really fun, attractive football. I think it could be this game where DK goes off.
Yeah. No, I like that. I mean, I did see that Gadsden left the field injured on Sunday. And I hate that fantasy football makes you think this way. Obviously, I don't want it to be a serious injury, but I was hoping he was going to be out for a few weeks because I was like, that would make all of these wide receiver Chargers decisions a bit easier because it's just too many. There's just too many mouths to feed. Herbert's a great quarterback, but if you've got Johnston, McConkey, Keenan Allen, and Gadsden, he can't make all 4 of them good players in every game. So,
and they've supposedly got Hampton back in 2 weeks. So after the bye, are they on? By week 13 or 14?
12, that bye week is, yeah.
Yeah, 12, yeah, so we should be back for 13 according to Harbaugh. So that's another reason why we can back the Chargers. But yeah.
Do you know what? I like that call. I need a win, so I think I'm okay with rolling it out.
Yeah.
I need a big result from somewhere. So that's the one I'll do. What's yours, mate?
I've got J.K. Dobbins versus the Chiefs, or the emerging Woody Marks at the Titans. And the only reason this one has become a debate is J.K. Dobbins' matchup against the Chiefs is obviously tough, whereas Woody's against the Titans isn't. But it's whether I can trust Woody enough, whereas I can get a solid standard game out of J.K. Dobbins.
Have we got... What's the latest injury update from J.K. Dobbins?
I think he's okay. I think he's still questionable, but he's not like a week to week. I think he's just a questionable.
Okay, because that would be like... So what I heard, he's obviously not very happy. What I didn't see the injury, but I think it was a hip drop tackle. And I heard there was a chance he might... Not necessarily might not play, but he might be questionable. In which case, I think Woody Marks. I mean, you will have watched the game closer than I did, but when you look at the numbers, he's done that thing again where he's sort of taken over from Chubb. Now,
I think the game situation played into that, though.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know whether you can. We've seen this from the Texans, so I don't know whether you can trust the Texans in terms of who they pick at running back.
So it was quite funny, actually. So what blew my mind is, bearing in mind how good of a game I'm going into the Texans, the Jalen Noel had the week before against the Broncos. He only had 11 snaps, and I think Jaden Higgins had 12 snaps. But these rookies have had more explosive plays, other than Nico Collins, Woody Marks, Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins have had those bigger explosive plays. And in the situation against the Jags, obviously we went down points quite heavy. Nick Chubb came out of the game because of that, because we weren't running the ball, or if we were, it was going to be outside zone. And then in I think it was the last drive, we brought Nick Chubb back into the game, who burst off a 20-yard run, 12-yard run, 12-yard run, and kept moving the chain. So I think they may lean more towards Woody in this game because of the two big lads for the Titans in the middle. I think he may get more snaps, but it's just one of them. It's impossible to tell at the minute with the Texans.
I mean, it's a tough choice. I think I would lean Woody Marks because I think and it really comes to me, it comes down to opponent. I think there's a chance against the Titans, you're on top, you're trying to run the ball, you're trying to keep the ball out of, well, just try and keep the Titans off the field and control the game a little bit more. Whereas I think the Broncos might have to, against the Chiefs, even at home to the Chiefs, I think there's a chance that they might end up in a situation where they're going to, like say, if Bo Nix doesn't come out firing, he's going to have to start firing in the second half and get them back into that game, because coming off a bye, the Chiefs are going to be ready to play in that game, and Mahomes is going to be ready. And I don't know if Satan's going to be back, but I would imagine the Chiefs are still going to put up 20-odd points, which means at some point the Broncos are going to have to find that as well. And they're not going to do that, handing the ball off to J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, we made 7 minutes up there.
Yeah, we're on our way back. This is the worst split four quarters ever. Right, our ones to watch. I think we might need to. I mean, this is a conversation for off the pod, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think we might need to have a chat with Ian about rejigging this feature for towards the end of the season, because at the beginning of the year, there's players I want to watch. As we get towards the end of the year, it's like I'm running out of players. People are getting injured. I'm like, I either know they're good at this point, or I know they're not very good. I'm not really keeping an eye on anyone. But at quarterback, I've gone with Tua because, I mean, they found a way at the weekend. It's like Tua is one of those annoying quarterbacks where I feel like you once you get to the point where you're like, yeah, he's done. I counted him out. They then go and put up a good game. He throws a ridiculous touchdown to Jalen Waddle, and all of a sudden the Dolphins win a game and they're alive again.
I think Tua to you is my Dak. Every time I go, I can let's play Dak in my fantasy team this week. He just puts up 3 points, and you're like, what is the point in this guy?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. To be fair though, I didn't expect the Dolphins to win that one. I didn't even think it'd be close, if I'm completely honest. I thought Tua played really well. He seems to have found a liking to now that Tyreek Hill's out, They've obviously started trusting a couple of the other receivers a little bit more, and the Washington lad looks really good, which is a player that shout out to Josh. He called this at the start of the year. He told me to watch out for him. He's going to be a really good player. I think he said he'd step up massively. I didn't see it at the start, but I'm starting to see it now that obviously Tyreek's out. There's a little. I think he's found a nice connection with Waddle as well. Waddle's almost become a player that you kind of consider him playing again. I know you've never been out on him, Pete, but
technically,
but,
I think I said on this podcast I was out on him, and now I'm fully back in. Then Tyreek Hill got injured, and I was like, "Well, Waddle's back." So
I like that one. I've gone with a bit of a weird one, which is standard for me. But whichever quarterback plays against the Cardinals, whether Brock Purdy is officially back or whether it's going to be Mac Jones again, because I think it's a matchup which I'm actually going to come on to when I get onto the kicker side of things. But I think it could be a really tough game for the 49ers in terms of scoring points. And I think the quarterbacks are going to have to make a big sort of dent in that for them to be able to kind of move the ball and get a win. I don't know whether it's going to be Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, but I just like. I mean, it's a system-based team, San Fran, but both quarterbacks could do a really good job here, or it could be terrible.
Yeah, true.
Am I allowed to do the running back? Because I've waited all year to do this.
Go on, yeah.
Trevion Henderson. Oh my word! Did you see my boy go? Woo! Just I've waited all year. All year.
Time.
But do you know what? Do you know what was brilliant about his performance though this week is? Did you see the final offensive play where he ripped off that 70-yarder?
Yeah. And
he just stops, kind of like 10 yards to go, looks to the sideline. I'm like, am I allowed to go in or not? It's such a smart play because he knew that they could wind the clock down, they win the game, and everything's sort of hunky dory. But they're giving the ball back, and he got told go over the line. But he looked the part this week, and I really, really hope that he's. This sounds bad. I kind of hope Stevenson's out again, so there's just not a thing in your mind of should I play Trevion Henderson, and we can just play him now for the end of the season.
That was my only question mark over Henderson. I've got him in a few teams. Is if Ramondre Stevenson's is healthy and can go, I don't trust the Patriots to not just go, oh, well, we'll go back to a 50-50 split. It's like, just give Henderson the ball. Just keep doing what you've just done. Like, why would you mess up? Especially against the Jets. You're going to be able to run. The Jets have just traded away their two best defenders. You are going to be able to run all over them. So just give him the ball.
The problem is, though, when it was a 50-50 split at the start of the year, but it wasn't with Henderson. It was with Stevenson and Gibson. Now, Gibson's out for the season. And then they went like a 70-30 split into Stevenson. And he just keeps fumbling the ball. I understand sometimes rookies take a little bit of time. And, we see it with the Steelers where, quite a lot, where they won't start their rookies until later in the year. But he's proven it now. For 2 games, he's looked the part. I know he didn't have the numbers to back it up in the game. I can't remember who he played. But he did have the numbers this week. Falcons, which is a tough defense as well. Whereas this week, he proved it. He looked the part. He looked brilliant, rushing all over the place, getting sort of dirt yards as well. Like he just, for me, I was a massive, massive fan. And I've finally got to see him do it in the NFL, which is, buzzing about.
I thought the Falcons were a tough defense to run on until Jonathan Taylor turned up in Billy, and then turns out the right player can run all over him. I've put Kareem Hunt, which is more of a Chiefs backfield thing, off the back of the bye. I think they went into the bye and they were kind of trying to work things out. And Pacheco's a bit banged up, and as per usual, the Chiefs have got like 4 options there, but Kareem Hunt was sort of leaning to be the number one. It'd be interesting to see this weekend if they come out of that and they've got a number one, or whether Brashard Smith gets a little bit more of the ball, or they've found somebody else while they were on bye that we've never heard of who becomes like number one on waivers on Tuesday next week. And then wide receiver, I've gone Keon Coleman on the basis that I think Kincaid's likely to be out.
Yeah.
Because he got banged up. So he had 8 targets at the weekend, only caught 3 of them, and still got in the end zone, 46 yards, so not a bad game. But I think he's one of those that I've been watching all year and kind of going, maybe this is your time. Maybe this is your time. And then, to be fair, after I put this down, I saw that they'd signed, is it the Bills that signed Mecole Hardman? And I was just like, 1, how is he still in the league? And 2, what do the Bills need with another like nonsense wide receiver? But Keon Coleman's like, he's coming towards, he's entering the back half of his second season. He needs to be really putting a stamp on this team if he wants to be a player in the NFL.
Yeah. I've gone Jakobi Meyers. I mentioned him earlier. I just think I know, obviously, the Jags had a shocker in the last quarter, and Parker Washington is also somebody to take a look at if he's available. But I quite like Jakobi Meyers' landing spot with the Jags there. I think he's going to get a bit of volume. I picked him up in a couple of redraft leagues that he was free in, just to see how he gets along. So I'm keeping my eye on that one a little bit.
Cool. Who's your kicker?
I've gone with Eddie Pinheiro. I like the name. That's it. No,
you said it so well. So.
I know. Eddie Pinheiro versus Cardinals, and this is what I was kind of talking about earlier with the Brock Purdy Mac Jones one. The Cardinals have actually only received 18 touchdowns so far this year. That's only been bettered by, I think it was 5 teams. And if I put it into context, those 5 teams, you'd consider the top defensive teams, the likes of the Broncos, the Texans, the 12th in rush defense, which is also what I would say the 49ers' main strength is with CMC. So there's a chance that they keep them out of the end zone, because I think the defense is quite good. But Eddie Pinheiro is 6 in kickers at the moment, which is good. He's actually not missed a field goal yet, but he has missed 2 extra points. So he's got reliability. I can't remember how many the percentage of the leagues that he's in, but I think he's got a game where there could be quite a few field goals, and I'd lean with him.
Oh, nice. I like it. We've got no. You do what? Sorry.
I did do the graphic. I didn't know if you were putting them up. I didn't know if we'd just close the pod.
We'll stick it on social media. I have. We haven't got a tight end from Ian, but what I would say is, if you want my 2 pence worth, I think it could be a big game for Jonnu Smith in that Steelers-Bengals game that we talked about. Bengals give a lot of touchdowns to tight ends. And if Arthur Smith wants to get the ball to anybody, it's Jonnu Smith. So I think maybe there may be a touchdown or 2 in the offing for him this week. Defensively, I've gone with the Ravens. We've already talked about some of this, so I'm not going to massively, but I thought they're getting healthy again. Showed up against the Vikings with a couple of interceptions and a sack. They've got the Browns this week. So Gabriel's only thrown 2 interceptions in 5 stars, but he's also only hit 200 yards once. So in a game where they're going to be made to do a little bit more, I think the Ravens might feast on that a little bit. And I've not really done this year, but I think it's the bonus of the Ravens as you look ahead. They've got Browns this week, and then they've got the Jets next week. So it's a kind of a 2-week job that you could just sit on the same. If you like me and you like to flick around from one defense to the next, this is a nice sort of, I can sit on this for 2 weeks and hopefully get 2 good weeks out of it. So that's who we're going with defense wise.
Yeah, they're also on them. They're getting bodies back as well. I think Kyle Hamilton was fully fit this week, and I think one of the corners is due back as well this week. So yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, they are definitely starting to get fit and healthy again, which is good.
See, and there we go. We've made the time back up.
Back on track.
If anything,
Ian will
we
be so
might finish early, and then we can safely say it's all Ian's fault.
just bring it back around. Right. I didn't stay up for any of the primetime games in week 10, and I've never been so happy about it. So I couldn't manage Broncos Raiders because I was working. What a game to miss. And then what was Sunday night? Sunday night was the Steelers. Looked like an okay game, but not much in it. And then last night, I was watching the highlights this morning. When it got to half time and it was still no score, I was like, thank God I wasn't sat there at 3 o'clock this morning watching that. Absolute shocker.
Yeah, some of us were.
Oh, you didn't go for that, mate. Oh,
yeah, I've
terrible.
Yeah, I did.
Thursday night football, unless you've got Drake May or some other, or Travion Henderson, or some other fantasy options. Jets at Patriots. Patriots are 11.5-point favorite.
How do the Jets get so many primetime games? Because they're just ass. Like, I just don't get it. There's so many games this week where I go, oh, I'd love that one to be on primetime. Oh no, it's the Jets. Like, although I get to watch my boy Drake, don't I? So,
and I love Thursday night football because it's the first one of the week and it's close to the weekend. So I've got time. My kids are a bit older now than yours are. So my weekends aren't as like Saturday morning isn't as I don't have to be up as early. So I can recover quicker from a Thursday night football than I can from, say, a Monday night football when I've got work all week. So I am a little bit gutted because there've been some decent ones this year, but Jets and Patriots, I can't even imagine. If you're a UK Jets fan, as we know a few who are listening, and you're getting up for that, fair play to you. So commitment is impressive. And then we've got another international game, which I think might be the last international game. The first one from Spain. Commanders at Dolphins. Dolphins are a 2-point favorite, which I think simply comes down to the fact that they've got their first choice quarterback and the Commanders don't have their first choice quarterback. Or at least I'm not expecting them to have their first choice quarterback. I think it's pretty hard to call. It's one of those games where you kind of want to go, the Commanders haven't been great recently. The Dolphins have just beaten the Bills, so the Dolphins are going to win this, but it's the Dolphins, so they'll find a way to not make that possible.
Probably. I can't believe at the start, like from the start of the year to where we are now, how out I am on the Commanders. Like I said it at the start. Like I thought they should have made, because they had a lot of cap space. I thought they should have gone out and made a better like wide receiver pickup. I've said it before. I think they got rid of the best running back that they had, and now the running game is just atrocious. There's just nothing that is kind of positive with the Commanders at the minute. It looks like Payne may get or potentially could have a suspension for throwing a punch. And then they've got Javon Kinlaw, who may get banned because he pushed the referee. It just seems to be falling. It's all just literally falling apart. The injury to Daniels is obviously massive. I can't see. It's too close to call because the Dolphins are so unreliable. But this is one of them games where they go, "Oh, we're against a better team. Like we'll play like, Patriots 10 years ago, kind of thing." So,
yeah, I think I agree with you on the Commanders, and they possibly should have done more. I think when you lose, you've got an elite quarterback, and elite might be a bit extreme in his second season, but I think he's a very, very good quarterback. I think we would all agree on that. And so if you lose him, if you lose him for a certain amount of games and he's not fully healthy or whatever, you never. But the one thing I would say about the Commanders is I think Mariota is probably the best backup in the league, if not, especially when you talk about bringing someone in and not having to change the play, not having to change. Like he's a backup for a similar type of starting quarterback. I mean, that's a conversation we can have. He's definitely one of the top 5 or 6. So they just don't feel like he's been coming in, and they don't feel like they've got the weapons. McLaurin's been struggling, Debo's been struggling, McCaffrey's been struggling. It's just like the running room. I mean, we talked about the running back room. That's not been there. I don't know why they let Brian Robinson walk. It just feels like a bit of a mess. And the sooner we get to the end of the year, the probably happier they'll be.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the trade with us to get Laramie Tunsil, the left tackle, as the blindside protector for Jaden Daniels. I completely understand that, and I understand you throwing is it 26 million a year at it. I understand that you've got to protect your quarterback, but if you're protecting him, give him something to throw at. Like Deebo Samuel last year, everyone was out on. I don't think anyone is particularly in on him anymore either. When for $3 million a year more, they could have got Davante Adams, who realistically, a lot of teams now are going, I wish we'd just spoken to his agent and seen what he wanted, because he's gone to the Rams and he looks. Granted, it helps that he's got Puka. I'm not saying it's not a great situation to land in with the Rams, as it's clear I'm very high on the Rams this year. But I just feel like go out, get the better wide receiver, go and get a better running back. You know, they had the chances to pick up one of these running backs in the draft, but they waited to the 6th round. But that was a huge area of need for them. Wide receiver, other than Terry McLaurin, was a huge area of concern as well. I know they've got Luke McCaffrey, who's playing a lot better this year, but there was just, for me, there was something missing, and they didn't really address it fully. Especially when you've got a rookie quarterback, spend the money whilst you got it.
They never should have traded Joanne, but they're really missing Joanne at this point.
Yeah, because he's lighting it up for the Eagles now. Is he still with the Eagles?
I think so, yeah. I think he caught a touchdown a few weeks ago. I was like, oh, he's still there. Survived through the summer.
He's got a ring. He's got a ring.
Yeah, true. Can't argue with that. I just quickly on Davante Adams. I really like Davante Adams, and I'm starting. If he catches another 1-yard touchdown throw that should be Kyren Williams, I'm really gonna start hating the guy. That's like Stafford is getting way too greedy with those 1-yard. Oh, actually, I'm just gonna throw a fade to the corner. I'm like, stop doing it. Just give it to you. Give it number 23.
Do you know what? Just on that as well with Kyren Williams, I don't know if it's just me, but Blake Corum seems to be getting some like a bit of a highlight package. And I mean, I looked at his snap count, and it's like 25, 25, 25. Like it's always around 25 to 30%. But when it's like on Red Zone, and I'm like, oh, I've got Williams in my in like a couple of my best balls where I've gone, oh yeah, Kyren Williams. It's like, oh no, that was Blake Corum that's just ripped off a 20-yarder again. I'm like, oh, come on.
But, yeah. It's weird when you're watching it, because we've gone off on a tangent now. But it is weird when you're watching it, because you're like, why is Corum in again? And then you get to the end of the game, and it's like, how many touches did Kyren have? It's like 25. And it's like, how has he still got to 25 touches? They're just dominating teams and having the ball that much, basically. I think is the upshot. Very quickly, we've touched briefly on Texans at Titans. You are 7-point favourites. I assume you think you're going to get the job done there?
I think the only way that we potentially don't is if CJ is ruled out again, but I think he may be trending in the right direction now. But even with Money Mills, like if he puts his neck on the line like he did this week, and that's the pun that everyone was expecting.
That's a big line. If he puts his neck on the line,
if he puts his neck on the line, to be but I think we've got enough. I don't. Yeah. I don't see the Titans doing much. I thought they'd be better, but they're still struggling.
Ian's not here, but we'll talk about it anyway. Bengals at Steelers. Talks about how Bengals need to win this one if they've got any hope in the division. Steelers are 5.5-point favorite. It's going to be difficult in Pittsburgh. I know they beat them in Cincinnati a few weeks ago. It's going to be difficult in Pittsburgh to win this one.
Yeah, there's something about that offense that works, and I don't. the thing with the Bengals is they could easily win this one, or they could easily just get the floor wiped with them. Because if that offense doesn't click, they've not got anything defensively. So
I feel like they're going to have to get out to a lead because they can't be chasing the game with TJ Watt and co running after you every time you snap the ball. So
yeah, they've got some. The Steelers' defense is good. They've got really good pass rush with Highsmith, Hayward, even the backups of Herbig and Sawyer is getting sacks now. TJ. So I agree with you, but there's just I don't know why there is this attraction with the Bengals. It's probably because offensively they're brilliant and they can either score 40 points or they can easily score 40 points a game. But yeah, I'd love to see if Burrow is actually active for this one, or whether they're going to go with Flacco.
Surely not. We'll see. I'm just bemused by that. Like that he's coming back so quickly, especially when I know their season's on the line. But I would kind of go with I don't think Joe Burrow makes them that much better than 80% Joe Burrow doesn't make them that much better than 100% Joe Flacco at this point in time. So, and I would if you coming back off injury, I wouldn't put my franchise quarterback behind that O-line against that team and go on, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
we might end your career. Sunday Night Football, Lions at Eagles. Eagles are a 1.5 point favorite, which basically means it's a toss-up, so we'll give it to the home team. This is the sort of game I want to be watching. Like I very rarely make it to Sunday Night Football, especially when there's a 2:30 international game going on, because by 1 o'clock in the morning it feels like I've been watching NFL for 3 straight days. And this is the sort of test I want to see. I don't really know what to make of the Eagles. I want the Lions to go in there, play like they have been playing, and put some points up and really make the Eagles come out and have a go at them.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because I feel like the Lions. I thought the Lions would click early, but they kind of didn't, and then they look like the last couple of weeks there's a little bit more juice. I think they're starting to use the running backs a little bit better because I think that to start the season they were quite heavy on Jahmyr Gibbs and there wasn't as much Monty, whereas now I think the situation is kind of affecting the way that it goes a little bit, and since then, in my opinion, it's looked a little bit better. I don't honestly know the snap count between the two. It just looked like situationally it was a bit one of them. But the Eagles look, I know offensively against the Packers they were god awful, and that was a game and a few hours of my life I'll never get back. But they are still a team that can disrupt you. They can score points on you, and at some point, Saquon Barkley's just going to have a game where you go, "Oh, there he is," and that'll be it. So, yeah, I'm excited for that one.
I don't know if you noticed this, in one of our dynasty leagues, I went in. So I've come very close to the 200 point mark twice this year, and I went into last night needing. I've already won my matchup and I needed 4.5 points or something like that. Let's call it 5 from AJ Brown to get to 200 points. And I woke up this morning and I'm on 198. I was like, "What are you doing, AJ?" Yeah. He's one of the best receivers in the league, and he's just not getting the ball. They just don't seem to be bothering with him. So.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're
not scoring as many points though this year. I don't think.
No, they're not.
And when they do score, it's
Smith's still having a decent year. Yeah, I mean, it's up and down. It's very Devonta Smith in terms of it's up and down. But
there's a lot of touchdowns to Dallas Goedert as well. Like these weeks where I've gone against the week where I was supposed to go against Brock Bowers and he didn't play, and I ended up going up against Dallas Goedert, who put 28 points up and won the game, and I was just like, this is the joke. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a very Dallas Goedert sort of thing to do as well. Him and Devonta Smith. All the Eagles are like that. And then Monday Night Football, what a corker this will be. Cowboys at Raiders.
Yeah, I'm not getting off that one.
Cowboys are a 3-point favorite. I will end up getting up for this one because I can't get enough of the Cowboys, and I really don't know what it is. I just think they're going to put points up all the time. So yeah, I mean, the Cowboys should win that off a bye. Going. I mean, I know they're going into Las Vegas, but the Raiders aren't putting up anything at the moment. So
No.
Brock Bowers will have a big game this week because everybody scores points against the Cowboys. But I think, although a couple of new defensive additions that we didn't talk about in the trade deadline stuff at the top, so maybe they'll shore things up a little bit. But I want to see the Cowboys coming out, slinging the ball around, getting themselves back involved in potentially a playoff push, but I think we all know they're not going to make the playoffs.
No.
Either that, I'll just settle for lots of 50-yard field goals so that Brandon Aubrey can get me some points. That would be good. Right, last but not least, to finish us up just in time, touchdown treble. If you backed our touchdown treble in week 9, you would have won because we went with Travis Hunter at the Raiders, DeAndre Swift at the Bears, and Josh Jacobs against the Panthers. The problem with that is that 2 of those would have been pushed because they didn't end up playing. So you're effectively just backing Josh Jacobs. So you wouldn't have won a lot of money, but you would have won more than you would have won. So that's all that matters. You can't go broke making a profit. So I'm going to call that a win in week 9. In week 11, I am going with, and this partly might be down to the fact that AJ Brown's annoyed me, but I'm going for Devonta Smith to go back-to-back and get a touchdown against the Lions. I think they will have to put up 25, 30 points to compete with the Lions. I think that the game plan will be to try and stop Barkley and make Jalen Hurts throw it. And I think when he does that, Devonta Smith seems to be the number one choice at the moment.
Nice. I have got a joyful one for you. And you very recently just mentioned how annoying he's becoming for his 1-yard touchdowns, but I went with Davante Adams.
Is he gonna play?
Yeah,
because he's carrying it. He went out with an injury as well, but he'll probably.
Well, if Davante Adams is out, my second option was Ashton Jeanty. So if Davante Adams is out, Ashton Jeanty against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And the reason that I went with Jeanty is even with the upgrades with the Cowboys have got a very leaky defense. But my Davante Adams one was just there's a connection there with Stafford. It's working, and they're going to keep going with it.
He's going to score every week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. We'll ask Ian for his, and then we'll stick it out on social. So for those of you who adamantly follow our touchdown treble, and we'll be happy you got a little bit of money back in week 9. Keep an eye on our socials to find out who's the third player on this week's slate. Anything to add before we wrap it up?
No.
Week 11, good luck with all your matchups. We are getting ever closer to the playoffs. Thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you next week.